Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of our podcast series for the Triple S program at American University of Beirut, which is targeting small and medium enterprises who wish to double their revenue within a time frame of 3 to 5 years. With us today is a special guest, Dr. Fouad Zablith, who is an associate professor and associate dean for online learning and program development at the Olayan School of Business at the American University of Beirut. Dr. Zablith teaches at the Olayan School Masters of Science in Business Analytics, MBAs, BBAs, and executive education programs. Dr. Fouad focuses on researching emerging technologies to improve organizations and how they can launch better products. He's an expert on application of design thinking to business problems. Dr. Zablith's research has been published in international journals, and he has also published several chapters in books. Thank you, Dr. Fouad, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Mr. Kteily. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Also with us today is Professor Bijan Azad, the director of the Darwaza Center at the Olayan School of Business. Welcome, Dr. Bijan.
Thank you.
Also with us today is Mrs. Manal Mouawad, the brand manager at Sarah's Bag, a very famous Lebanese design house and social enterprise. Manal, please introduce yourself, Sarah's Bag, and the design industry in Lebanon. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Manal Mouawad. I'm the brand manager of Sarah's Bag. Sarah's Bag is a Lebanese social enterprise that manufactures and sells accessories, bags, ready to wear, made by underprivileged women all around Lebanon. We have prisoners, we have ex-prisoners, and we have underprivileged women, around 200 women that do the bags. So we always say that when we sell our bags, we empower the woman that is buying the bag and at the same time the woman that is doing the bag.
Okay, so to qualify for employment at Sarah's Bag, you have to be either a prisoner or a previous prisoner.
No, you have to be, no, not really. Actually, you have to be, it's mainly underprivileged women in villages who cannot go out. Most of them cannot work outside the house. They have kids or they cannot go. Beirut is very far for them. So actually, what we do is that we send them work to their villages, and while staying at home with their kids and with their families, they are able to help the income of the family. We have moms that were able to send kids to universities, to school. We have moms that were able to put, to give electricity or to help the husband with the daily spendings. So this is why we were able to power these families today.
Beautiful world. Dr. Zablith, today's session is about design thinking and growth planning, but let's start with design thinking. Sarah's Bag is a very famous design house as well, and not just a social enterprise. Many people I meet, when we mention the word design thinking, they think design thinking is about designing a product. So can you please tell us, for the benefit of our viewers, what is design thinking and how it can benefit organizations in general?
Sure. I think it's a good way to start. There's a lot of misconception about what design is. So a lot of people think when they hear the word design, they think that it's how the product looks like and feel like from the outside. But it's actually how it works. And I'm quoting now Steve Jobs. So it's better to think about design as a methodology to help us think how, starting from a persona, from a customer, right, we can identify problems and then innovate.
Dr. Bijan, many people say design thinking is somehow synonymous with innovation. And what Dr. Zablith is saying is really customer-focused design thinking. Can you tell us a little bit about design thinking and its relationship to innovation?
It's a great question. So I feel like we have to be clear also that we are not talking about design in general. From my point of view, design is one of these things, one of my professors used to say, these are suitcase words. Suitcase words are, there is a lot of meaning to design. Depends on what context, architectural design, product design, I don't know, store design. Everything can be designed, right? So the way you basically craft a product Could be a store, could be a building, could be the process that the company has. So you want to think about the fact that design thinking brings the knowledge that people have been using to more or less do that, to really rethink certain things are done, a product is conceived, but then what it does also, one of the key innovations that Dr. Zablith is very expert in that, is that the persona of the customer is brought in to bear on what and how the design of the product should be, so that the persona more or less connects with this design. And I think, so design thinking, in 2024, for us, that mainly. But I think I defer to both my colleagues, Manal and also Dr. Zablith, that, at the end of the day, product like Sarah's bag is a design, it's a high-end design product, but also what Fouad brings to the equation is that we can learn from design principles to apply them to business problems, which traditionally we haven't done.
Back to Manal. Manal, the industry you're in, the industry that Sarah's bag is in, is a competitive industry. So there must be a lot of competition in the market. Can you tell us some of the challenges you faced in Lebanon, especially in the last 5 years, I would say?
So actually, we have two kinds of challenges. We have the challenges that are related to Lebanon, like the banks issues we have, the production issues like electricity, finding raw material. These are challenges only in Lebanon that we face, but since we are based in Lebanon and it's a Lebanese company, we face them on a daily basis. And we have other challenges that are related also to our social enterprise, which is, for example, the limitation in production, because everything is handmade. So you have from one side that you cannot produce, for example, 100 pieces within a few seconds with the machine. And at the same time, since it's handmade, the handwork takes more time and there is more margin for error because it's handmade. So this is why we have more challenges to keep up with the timing, to keep up with the errors. Sometimes a bag is done and there's something wrong, we have to return it, so it takes more time to be done. And also we have the challenges, like locally lately we were facing a lot of copying. Like we have, for example, our design team works for months to do a theme, to do the new collection, to follow up the subject we want to work on, and the creativity. They work for months, and then we have a collection, the collection that we filtered.
A lot of work.
A lot of works, exactly. And then we find someone that goes, especially in Lebanon, a creative brand that goes and copies exactly the same bag within few days. Like, we've been working on it. So this is challenging because there is no ethics in the business. And also we have the challenges that we face because we look a lot to sell outside of Lebanon. We have a very successful website and we try to do a lot of exhibitions outside of Lebanon, especially today with the economic situation and the political situation that is super unstable. So every day we have something happening. We try to focus a lot on international income, but for example, if you want to sell online, you have the customs, you have the return policy. These policies do not help in Lebanon. Like sometimes if a client wants to return a bag they bought, we pay customs more than the cost of the bag itself, the retail price, which is very high. And we cannot do one, for example, if you buy something in Dubai, from Dubai, you have website that deliver within an hour. For us, it has to be 1 day or 2 days. And another example, we cannot ship to KSA, unfortunately, lately with the political problems we have. So all these challenges makes us try to find more solutions, try to find easier solution, or to brand our brand or market our brand differently in order to reach more clients or to show them the value of our brand so they prefer it over other brands.
Are you embarking on a growth strategy? I mean, do you want to grow your revenue?
Yes, of course we want to grow our revenue, but we have, as I said, we have to take in consideration our capacity. Like I cannot come and say today, okay, it's fine, I'll add 20,000 bags for this month. It's impossible because we have to, again, we have to make sure the work is done correctly. We have to take in consideration the capacity of the woman. A woman cannot work, she can work 5, 6, 8 hours a day. She cannot work 24 hours a day. So we have to take in consideration all of these. And we prefer to grow slowly, but grow correctly, than grow very fast, and then reach a point where we do everything wrong and we lose the essence of the brand.
So in your case, growth strategy is a moderate growth.
Exactly.
You're not in favor of fast growth, because as a social enterprise, this is really rather difficult.
Yes, because
Manal,
everything is handmade.
I want you to close your eyes for a minute and think, how can we make the very famous Sarah's bag the Hermes of Lebanon and the Middle East? And I'm going to ask Dr. Fouad Zablith to help us from a design thinking perspective. How can we help Sarah's bag to be a very famous brand like Hermes?Hat's your intake on this? Easy question, I hope.
I wish I have the answer, but basically, I think one way to approach it, I'm not talking about Hermes, but I'm talking about how can you identify the needs of people? In other words, every product is actually adding value in some way to their customers. So that's the magic question. So what kind of value are you adding to your persona? So the person who's buying Sarah's bag, what is the need that you're actually fulfilling? And the more you are sensitive to this, the more you are sensitive to the needs of your customers, the more you'll be able to offer a product that is kind of aligned and will sell well. So in other words,
appeals to the emotions, maybe?
So there's the emotional aspect, there's also the practical aspect of
exclusivity.
Maybe. So so going back to starting from a customer-centric perspective will make sure that you are kind of aligning your product and strategy with the market. So you mentioned, for example, going to Dubai, right? So probably in Dubai, the needs could be very different. So you mentioned a quick delivery service, for example. You talk probably the taste is a little bit different. So we have to go on the ground and actually observe what customers want and need to be able to offer them an appropriate product.
Dr. Bijan, the same question. Would you buy, when you're now traveling to the USA, would you buy Sarah's bags to your hosts in the United States?
Hands down, yes.
Yes. Why? Can you tell us why?
I think so. I want to answer the question originally you asked, but I think this is a no-brainer. Okay. The design of the bag, the uniqueness of its sourcing, all of these things become a story. So this is a story product. So I think people really like it, and I think the themes you have. My wife has one that's got Kulthum on it. So and I think these people who relate to Arabic culture and more or less Middle Eastern culture will relate to this. But I want to challenge a little bit Sarah's bag, Manal, and the team, is that I do think that growth perhaps requires a different mindset, which maybe the company in its current setup may not be ready, and I think that's what you're pointing out. So for me, for instance, I don't see a problem in 10 years. Sarah's bag will be a Middle Eastern equivalent of Birkin bag, or 20 years, let's say. Birkin bag, each item costs between $8,000 to $140,000.
For the benefit of our viewers, Birkin bag is one of the Hermes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's a sub-brand of this. But and then to go back to what you were saying, so also brand, we don't know often when we teach marketing or we practice marketing. I think you know very well because I've talked to you. Is that brand's result is usually shows up in price and margin. Okay. High margin products have built up an amazing brand. The point is that if you want to go in that direction, obviously a lot has to be in the back end. And I think currently it's clear that I think Sarah's bag is going through these soul-searching questions. And it has come up, and we are very happy that at least we opened the conversation about this thing. But I have to say, when I've talked to, Sarah herself, Malak, you, is that it's not the first time you've been talking about these things, but it's a question of do we want to do that? And then are we willing to put up with the other aspects of that? Because it means probably you cannot have a workshop only in Lebanon. Because I feel like that kind of demand, so I think it's very important that we kind of think about I feel like the commitment to grow and the mindset change that comes with that among the management team, among the senior management team. And then at the same time, are we willing to kind of depart from different things? Let me take a complete different example, just for 60 seconds. Bal'is juice has run out of orange groves in Lebanon to have orange juice. If they want to double production of orange juice, they have to go to Syria or to Jordan to get oranges. Okay, if you do that, should you bring the oranges to Lebanon, or should you go there, set up a plant to make the thing in? So these issues are the things that, when you want to grow, you have to really grapple with this. And I think Sarah's back, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think this is current for you, and I think you're kind of grappling with this. Do we really want to do this? And then maybe it's not consistent with the way you really are set up in a way that's a very closely knit team, and you really know the families, and then you have a good sourcing strategy, stuff like this. You see what I'm saying? Scaling requires, really building the infrastructure to do that, but also the mindset to go with it.
But I recall during the course, actually, is that Manal mentioned the new customers, the new age group of customers, which previously don't buy Sarah's bags. So I think it's a customer-centric approach now. You are applying, searching for new customers. I want to link this to design thinking, modern innovation, and how the customer becomes the center of modern innovation. So please, and then
first,
Dr.
to
Zablith.
answer Dr. Bijan, what we actually discovered, especially during these courses we took during the last semester, was that actually we need to fix the base, like you're saying, the management, the infrastructure of the company. We have already started by changing our whole ERP system. We are looking more into finances. We are looking more into training the team. And once we fix these, we are looking to grow more and more, of course.
I love that.
Issue
Thank you.
Change management now is going to be, I think, a topic that Dr. Bijan.
But I'm very happy to hear that, because I think part of this whole thing is that is a management team, what is the philosophy and what is the thinking, and I think this shows that. I'm very, very, very pleased. It's amazing. It's so gratifying to hear that. I just want to say
that. And the second part is that also during what I was telling him, that I was telling Sami that during our brainstorming homework, we discovered, because we wrote down our persona, we did interviews with our persona, and we discovered that actually today our clientele, today Sarah's Bag is 23 years old, 24 years old. So the client that started buying with us 24 years ago, that was maybe 30 or 40, is today 50, 60, and she's growing. So what we're looking for is also to target the younger clients that will also grow up with us also. Some of them are already fans, some of them already know us, and some of them do not know us or do not buy from us. So we're looking also for ways, but let's say in Sarah's Bag way, to attract them, to communicate with them. And why do I say Sarah's Bag way? Because we don't do things normally. We always do things very creatively. Our bags are very different, are very unique. We're talking about value and what the client needs, and this is what differentiates us. Like, you can go buy a leather bag from all the luxury brands. We are not competing. I'm not going to say competing, but we do not want to compete with Jar or Louis Vuitton or any other brand, because we are different. We have unique bags, we have handmade bags, we have bags with stories, and different. They're not like the usual just leather bag that you can find 500 pieces of. So this is our story, and this is our motto, let's say. So this is how we want to communicate to these new clients in Lebanon and also outside of Lebanon to attract them, to let them know. Also, especially, what did I say, internationally? Because we're trying to reach the world. We have a lot of clients in the US, we have a lot of clients in Arab world, in the Arab countries, to show them that actually this is Sarah's bag. We do these kind of bags, we do them differently. They're usually colorful or even evening bags that are different, that they have a story. So this is a way we're trying to see how we want to target these clients. We don't want to do it in the traditional way by just, like, for example, talking to a blogger or just I don't know, I'm saying, or just putting ads. Even the photo shoots we do, the events we do, everything we try to do them with an extra value. This is the thing.
Okay. Back to this customer-centric, and I think this is a feature of modern innovation. And I'd like to ask Dr. Zablith, if you want to compare the traditional innovation with the modern innovation, what can we say to Sarah's bag and what they are doing at the moment?
That's a great question. And I think maybe we can start by maybe defining what innovation is, just to, because there's a misconception around innovation as well. And there's a really nice definition that I like, which is about, it's any change that you do to a service or product or process that adds value. So the trick here is that you're not looking for the major or radical change that you usually kind of to call it innovation. It's even if you do like these small incremental changes as Manal you were describing, that is at the end adding value. So this small shift in thinking about it enables organizations and businesses to get closer to the concept and be able to talk about innovation more freely inside the organization. And now, from a design perspective and tradition versus traditional innovation, traditionally, there's what we call the innovation funnel, where you have a team of people who are locked in a room. We call them the research and developers people, R&D people, and they are responsible usually for looking for the best idea or the next best idea.
Or coming up with the new ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's usually like a selection mechanism inside the organization to prioritize their ideas, and then they develop the product, and then they launch it to the market. And this is when they will discover whether the product is going to work or not.
But too late, maybe, no?
Absolutely.
And they've spent a lot of money and time on something that is not acceptable by the customer.
Absolutely. And most of the times, they may end up with developing a lot of solutions or products to problems that may not even exist. So how do we flip this? How can we make this traditional approach more agile? How can we test fast and fail fast? So how can we make...
You love this. Fail fast.
Absolutely.
And cheap.
Fail fast and cheap.
Exactly. Like, how can you make this kind of mechanism more, like granular, more approachable to anyone in the organization? And this is what thinking like a designer somehow helps in starting with first the customer.
Yeah, okay. Creativity, agility.
Yeah, this is the creativity and agility has to be, you have to empower everyone in your organization to be able to do that.
So it's no longer the research and development. This is what Sarah's bag did. They brought everybody.
This is what I was really happy when you mentioned that you went to your personas and you were actually, interviewing them, because during the mentoring sessions we were discussing this. They should go on the ground and do this.
Bravo.
So I'm so happy that you're doing this.
Actually, what you said, something is very important, is that what personally we've benefited from this program the most was working on small aspects. Usually when you say scale up, you think, yes, I'm going to come and change radically the whole thing. No, we kept the core, and we started doing small things like changing in the management and the operations, changing the system we work on, and so we can get more data to analyze better. We changed in maybe we discovered more our persona. But I think because it's a already settled company, it's not a new company that has been here only for 2-3 years. It's a 24-year-old company. So the thing is that we need to change slowly small things in order to grow and in order to have a stronger base. This is what personally,
Yeah.
we've learned.
But how did the staff react to this change? I mean, change management is one of the topics you love, Dr. Bijan. First, let's hear from Manal.
Yeah,
How
that's
did
it.
the staff react to these
First,
changes?
we explained that it would. I'm going to give a very small example. When we decided to change our ERP system, so
Yeah.
we're still
We're
doing
still
the
working
change.
on it.
Yes, and it took a lot of work because we were going into details, into inventories, into all this info that we didn't take in consideration before. At first, they were like, "Oh, this is too much work, and we're gonna be so tired." I'm like, "Yeah, you're gonna work for 3 months now, but after, the thing that used to take you 2 days to be done can be done with a click." Or let's say with half an hour. And when we started training on the new ERP and they saw how easy things are on the new ERP, they're like, okay, it's okay. I'll get tired for the next 3 months. I'll do overtime to be able to have all the data ready. But it's a good, and we keep repeating this. Whenever there's a training or whenever there's a team meeting, we say, now we're getting tired, but don't worry. Later, it will facilitate so much. And
So you showed them the objective.
Exactly.
You told them what's the objective of this change.
And we already had this example. We changed our website software. So the digital team saw the difference. They were working on another software, and now we changed to a much easier and much, let's say, global one. And they see how easy work is. So we always give this example from the team. Look how their job is much easier today. And they're like, oh, okay, let's see this.
Dr. Bijan, should there be a motivation to the staff to accept change?
I think they're already applying it. So we say 3 things. You need to clarify the objective for people because that's not clear.
Okay.
You need to motivate them. You need to really
How?
motivate the change. It's emotional. It's not rational. You need to shrink the change. If you do this today, let's work on this, and then this happens later, because always change looks very, very large, and I think also applies to a scaling, which you discussed, which is a scaling is fixing a lot of small things to lay the foundation. It's almost like you step back and then you fix small things in order to grow later on bigger. And I think, you are already practicing the change. I change management, because I think this is key. You need to motivate the change by shrinking it. Most people have a very, very, oh, that's the big deal, I feel like, think about it. I can't even engage in it. If I'm going to think about the fact that I have to lose 10 kilos, and I never go on a treadmill. I just keep looking at it, hoping that somehow I will lose 10 kilos. But if you say, 2 days, let's just start half an hour a day on a treadmill. Let's see what happens. But the goal is not lose the 10 kilos. The goal is to get on the treadmill. And I think that's what's important.
But I'm sure there's a lot of resistance, especially from people who have been there for a long time. It's not easy. We're human at the end. So it's not easy for someone who has been doing the same job for 20 years to come and tell her, oh, by the way, you have to do it differently, or you have to learn how to use the computer because she never used it before. So there's a lot. And this is why you mix also with the employees. So we have newcomers, new blood coming, younger employees that come with new ideas, and we have so we try to learn from both because they have experience. So they didn't get here after 20 years without knowing really that, for example, a newcomer can say, oh, let's do this way. But the experienced employee would say, be careful, because we tried this earlier, like a few years ago, and it didn't work. So we try to sit together and brainstorm together what the solution can be. Maybe we can try to do what the newcomer is saying, but taking in consideration the mistakes we did previously, not to repeat.
Okay.
Yes, I think,
Dr. Zablith.
I think this is a great example of applying this kind of persona-centric thinking even within your organization.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So you onboarded your employees, and you thought with them what could be their issues, and then you highlighted the value that, for example, this ERP system is bringing, like it's shrinking time, it's improving processes, etc. So I just wanted to say that this is an example of an incremental change within the organization, which is indirectly applying even the thinking like a designer concept.
Okay. Back to Manal. Manal, 10 participants at the SSS program.
10 companies.
10 participants, 10 companies. 2, I believe, have similarities with Sarah's bags, maybe Artisan de Liban and Buja. Okay, tell us about your experience with the course, and did you benefit from the networking or benefit from the experience of other participants in the course?
So like I said earlier, we benefited a lot from the course. When we came, we didn't know what to expect. And actually, when we came, we had in mind that we just want to work on the production operation part of the business.
I remember that.
Right.
And then we started taking the courses, and we started discovering things like, for example, when I took the finance course with Mrs. Tanir, I was like, it was the first time I see it from this point of view. It was so concrete and so realistic. Or the negotiation class was so interesting. Like now, every time I want to negotiate, I have him in the back of my mind.
That was Dr. Bijan?
No,
No.
that
Emil Strunk.
exactly. Even like small tips when I do interviews with the new employees. So actually, it made us realize that, like I said earlier, it's in the small details that you can change and that you can see differently that can change. And also, you know, when I did the master's degree outside of Lebanon and I started working in a different company, and I've been with Sarasbag for 9 years. So sometimes you think that you have a lot of experience, but no, every time we take new classes, you discover that there are things you can see differently and you can learn new things. And two other very important things. One of them is the homeworks. Like, we never had time to sit together and discuss these basic things because we were busy like discussing the new collection, where are we going to promote it, like the up-to-date things. But with the homeworks, we had to sit, we had to do the the design thinking class, we had to do the marketing and sales homework, and then we have to do it, we have to submit it tomorrow, so let's sit for 2 hours. And while sitting, we discovered more things. We decided we need to work on other things than what we thought we needed to work. And the last
You mean
thing
you sit with other people in the company?
No, I mean with the company, with Sarah and Malak.
With Sarah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the last part that was very interesting for me was the networking within the other 9 companies. It was, every time we sat, I think that what the teacher was telling us was very interesting, but also with the examples other gives, and it was super nice. Like, I remember Yusr saying, I'm going to give what happened in our company. I was like, oh, this is super smart. I can. And Yusr has, for example, Wakilni, a company totally different than Sarasbag, but it can be applied on Sarasbag indifferently. Or George, like, I got this new system ERP referred by George, for example.
George Alam from
Exactly, and
Idris.
I discovered that Sumaya had the same. So it was nice talking to each other. Like, so the third very interesting part was meeting all these people that come from very different backgrounds and from very different companies. Like, I've learned so much from people that come from a very different company. For example, and what was nice, that everybody was so at ease and we became friends and we were sharing a lot. Like, I remember Yusr from Wakilni was giving an example one day. She said, I'm going to share. I'm like, oh, this is super interesting. And Wakilni is totally different from Sarah's bag. So I went and I took notes how I can adapt it to Sarah's bag. And the same, for example, I was in contact with the ERP system and the company we're working on through George, for
George
example.
Alam.
Yes,
Idris.
and even with Artisanat du Liban and Bokja that have a bit similar companies, but we have different stories, we have different visions. So also it was so nice to share with everyone. And we became friends, and I feel like today, I feel very loyal to their brands. I go to the supermarket, I only buy from Ta'a. Or for example, in the company, we work with Wakilni now. So like, you feel this connection because we've shared so much stories, so much challenges for each company. And after all, we're all based in Lebanon. We all have the same local challenges and problems. So it's nice to feel that we can help each other, we can grow together.
Okay. You're taking your kids to the kids airline?
Yes.
Right, Jad? ما عم نعمل دعاية.
My wife is taking me to kids airline. I complain too much. Yeah, Bijan complains too much. Take him to the dentist.
So we had many modules at the SSS program, right? Yeah. Sales, marketing, strategy, operations, negotiation, human resources, finance. I recall you saying that your best was design thinking, correct?
Design thinking was very interesting. No, I really liked it, and especially I liked the part where we did we applied it for our company when we worked on it, me, Sarah, and Malak.
Okay, great. I want to move a little bit to growth planning, which is Dr. Bijan's area of expertise, I think. What are, we want for the benefit of Sarasbag and Manal, what are the main components of a growth planning strategy?
So I want to say it in a way that, first of all, for us, growth planning is really the company is starting as an introspective analysis of what it's doing,
Okay.
and then a strategy that we did. You identify initiatives in design thinking, you identify initiatives in finance, and I think exactly what Manal said, which is there are these initiatives you are undertaking. All we want now, we want to group them and say, okay, if this is an initiative, it will be implemented in this year. By the end of the year, it will be done. What would be the expected result? So really, in a way, you're already doing it, but we want to formalize this. And we think from now on, the companies can have a roadmap by stepping back. Because I think most of the companies, what you said is very true, which is, in a way, this program forced you to get off the treadmill. And now that you're off the treadmill, you have time to say, okay, what should we do? And then each of these initiatives are very concrete, but then our goal is to kind of get the companies used to articulating these initiatives, and then what is the expected outcome. And then that becomes both a roadmap, but also a concrete way to control the way you grow, more systematic. So, I mean, when Manal was talking, I was saying, yes, I mean, that's exactly what we want. So for me, it's just the next step is collecting it and, make it into a roadmap. That's all that's required.
So it's not grabbing every opportunity that comes along the way. Growth,
Well,
because to some people, there's an opportunity, I want to grab it. They're not in their plan. It doesn't follow a strategy. I think they avoided this trap at the
100%. So also,
Okay.
I feel like because you're on a treadmill, your view of like grabbing revenue or raising revenue, grabbing market share is basically let's do more. I think let's do the right thing more rather than let's just do more.
Okay.
I think that's basically what the lesson is, and I am very pleased.
Yes.
I have to say it because, in this business, we are in a business of helping other companies grow, because by them growing, the company contribute to economy growing and generating employment and things like this. And really, I'm happy to say, every company is gotten not only the message, it's gone beyond it, and I think that's very happy to hear that.
I think
Would
this
you
is something
li-
that we have in our team that actually when you were saying it, I realized we have it, is that sometimes we get carried away. Like I got an email that's very interesting and I'm very excited. And then when we meet and we're like, always there's like the devil's advocate, one of us is like, no, wait, can we
Cooling
do
off.
this? Are you sure we can do this? Are you sure we can manage it? Or for example, is it really good for our image? Or so, and sometimes the devil's advocate can be me or can be Sarah or can be Malak, mainly when we do the management decisions meetings. And then we realize that this is why we're growing up slowly, but we're getting there. So because you always have to take in consideration the pros and the cons of anything. So sometimes because when, like you said, when you're on the treadmill and you're very excited, sometimes like, but why? This is a great opportunity. We have to take it. And then Malak said, wait, let's do a plan. Let's talk about it. Let's sleep on it. And then the second time I'm like, oh, actually she was right. Maybe we should do it differently.
So growth as a part of a plan rather than grabbing an opportunity that comes across.
So I want to say one more thing. I
Okay.
hope, I think you agree with me that a strategy of a company is not just what it should do, it's also what it should not do.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then-
that's quite interesting actually. What
So-
should not do.
Right. So, and then we gave this very simple table that says impact versus effort. And then if maybe something takes a lot of effort but doesn't produce impact in the short term or even in the long
Yeah.
term. So you don't want to really take everything. You should figure out the impact on the companies out.
That's the beauty of having an annual business plan. Many times ideas come to me, opportunities. I say, is it in this year's plan? No, I say, okay, put it till November this year. We'll consider it for next year's plan. I want to move to Dr. Zablith actually a little bit. When we say about growth, usually growth could mean an additional stream of revenue, which I think we'll talk about it as far as Sarah's bag is concerned. Because they're in bags, or growth could be opening a new location. So could you tell us with Sarah's bag in mind, that I hear they've introduced new products. Sarah's bags is about bags,
Yes.
but now
But
they
now
don't
we
do
have-
bags
No,
only.
we do bags.
No,
we do,
only.
Yes, we do ready to wear. We do accessories. We do small items, for example, for events. We also did this collaboration with Chloe. We produced the bags for Chloe, but they were sold exclusively at Chloe.
Which is easier, Dr. Zablith? I mean, this is a new revenue stream, correct? Or moving to, as everybody does, moving to Dubai, moving to
We decided
West
to
Africa,
grow
moving.
internationally, but based here. We didn't open a boutique in Dubai, but we do a lot of online sales, a lot of online promotion campaigns to be able to reach all around the world. We have a lot in the US and all the Khalij.
Hey, I go back, Dr. Zablith. What's your insight on
Yeah, one of the
on
things
growth?
that was mentioned by Bijan earlier is that it has to be aligned with the strategy, right? And one way to look at it is to really kind of whether the revenue stream is going to be diversified. Is it kind of, are you trying to generate revenue from new products or a new stream of revenues, and also whether it's going to be a steady stream. Like, are you looking at only the short term, or are you looking for maybe long term? So predictability in revenue stream is very important. So for example, take subscription-based revenue streams. These are things that you can build your budget on the long
Most
term.
conservative, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you have
So you'll have more data, you'll be
Yeah.
able to kind of track things, you'll be able to kind of plan based on that. So there are different models where you can think of revenue streams as a way to make your business more solid, to be able to grow on the long term in a more kind of systematic way. So
So do you think their approach to growth is advisable?
absolutely. What I like about the conversation today is that they're being very kind of thoughtful about the decisions that they're making. So that's very, very important. And also I like the way that you are highlighting the collaborative aspect of decision making. So you are bringing people from not only probably the top managers, and then you kind of thinking with your employees with that. And I think that's also very good. Another thing that maybe I can comment on as a professor in the program was that I had the chance to work with the companies, and then the program forced us to mentor them later.
Oh.
I was like, wait, aren't we done with the sessions? The mentoring was a great way to kind of connect with the participants, to be able to track whether they are applying what we're discussing in class or not. And I think this was a great opportunity to also track what they're applying, the activities they're doing, and it's the first time I hear about the ERP system changes. This is something that I also teach in change management. So I think you have all the ingredients for
Manal loved the homeworks, right?
After finishing them. I remember when we got them.
Why?
No, it's like the face just, like went from happy to kind of scowling. Homework.
We have to do all this, and then.
No, actually, something that you said is very important is that when we look for the short and the long term, like we have things that we set them from the beginning of the year, this is a long-term plan. And sometimes, especially because we live in Lebanon, we change a lot of things for the short term and we adapt. Like in October, like if you ask me in September, we had totally different plan till December. But when the war in Gaza happened in October and sales dropped a lot locally, and we were scared that airplanes might shut down, or for example, the airport might shut down, our let's say strategy changed completely. So we had to sit together and to adapt, because we live in a country with so much uncertainties that we needed to change. And we changed. We diverted our focus to international sales. We diverted, for example, companies that we were supposed to give less products, we were able to give more products because we had in mind the idea that now we have more capacity since here the sales have so we changed this till December. After December, we also changed because situation was getting a bit better in Lebanon, but we keep on adapting. Because this is what happens. Sometimes you might have a plan for a year, but I don't think this plan should be totally untouchable because you never know what might happen.
True. You have to adapt to. We live in a country with a lot of uncertainties.
Remember we discussed this before, Lebanon and actually other countries, we are living in a situation where the zero to hero and hero to zero is like overnight. The company's resilience is critical because let's say in Silicon Valley you don't have that problem. So in a way, or you're in Paris, you don't have the same problem.
True.
So
Lebanon is in this
very
aspect is unique.
Yeah.
A couple of related questions to Manal, actually, now that you've done the course. Would you recommend it to others?
Definitely.
And another thing, would you believe this should be totally funded by institutions like Spark, USAID or whatever, or we can ask companies to contribute even if partially towards the cost of this program?
I think that unfortunately today, companies that need scale up are totally local companies that today with the budget cuts we're facing and the situation, they cannot afford courses like this, unfortunately. Maybe if you asked me before 2018, I would say yes, why not? I think they could afford. But now with everything happening, they would have priority for the budget, which I totally understand. But I think that the course is very interesting and it needs to be promoted as much as it's interesting because when I first came, I was intrigued and I didn't know at all what to expect. And I went and we're almost done.
So you were not disappointed?
Not at all. So I think it should be funded by international funding because we cannot count on local fundings. And I think that everyone should do it. I think that should take it seriously. I attended all the courses personally. I did the homeworks. I followed, you really have to take it seriously. If you want to come and you don't want to take it seriously, don't waste the place and give it to another company that would take it seriously.
Thank you very much, Manal, for being us today. Thank you very much, Dr. Zablith, for your insights into design thinking and growth planning. Thank you very much, Dr. Bijan, for your really superb contribution to the success of the SSS podcast series,
yes.
For the benefit of small and medium Lebanese enterprises that targeting to double their revenue within a time frame of 3 to 5 years. Manal, I want to hear it from you. You are going to double Sarah's Bags revenue within how many years?
Let's say 5 years.
Oh, okay. I was expecting less, but okay.
We live in Lebanon. Let's say 5 years.
Let's be conservative.
Okay. Best of luck and success.
Thank
you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.